I'm like, okay.
Define always.
95% of the time.
It is not 95% of the time.
It's 95%.
That is not 95% of the time.
95% of the time. Good evening, everyone. I hope you are having a lovely evening. Look at that, 8:18 on the clock.
Yeah. We're always on time, on divine timing.
Always
okay?
on divine timing. So,
sorry.
Let me get this out. Let me tell a couple of people. I gotta get a link over to someone, so bear with me as I do that here real quick as we settle in. So welcome to each and every one of you. Welcome those that are just coming in and those that will be joining us here shortly as we dive into some beautiful energies this evening and talk about a few things. I know that you guys have been waiting for the return of, the podcast and the return of light in the trenches here. Liquid Sunshine for Your Soul. And you know what's funny about that title? I'll just tell you real quick while I share this out. But that title came to me in 2016. And at that point in time, I thought I was gonna write this really cool, book of all these proverbs or all these sayings that I had received over time. And I was gonna call it Liquid Sunshine for Your Soul. And so that's where the title came from for the podcast, which was Light in the Trenches, Liquid Sunshine for Your Soul, because each and every one of us have been warriors in our own way, warriors in many different places and spaces in our lives, maybe for other people, maybe for ourselves. And so that's where truly the excuse Jose as he finally settles in and gets ready. So I'm glad I'm over here just chit-chatting. That's where the energy came from, and the title came from. For those of you that are interested in knowing, it became Light in the Trenches, because I was always told that I was this light in the trenches for people. I create stability and transformation at the same time. So tell me how you figured that one out. So I don't know how that is, but in my authentic destiny there, I create stability and transformation at the same time. That's my makeup. So this, for those of you that do not know, this is my partner in crime. This is my husband, Jose.
Howdy.
He is a sound frequency master and Reiki master. I really think of him as being this cosmic frequency energetic master, because he's very in tune with frequencies. He's very in tune with energy, and in order to become in tune with energy, he had to become in tune with himself. And so I wanted to talk tonight about the sacred return. So I kind of was on this beautiful sabbatical for about 25 days, as a lot of you know, and it was ordered. And I've gotten told to back off and chill out before because, I need to do for myself and take care of myself. And, I work for so many. So I've had many pauses, as I call them, but to be ordered to take a seat and go on a sabbatical. And I heard the word sabbatical for 3 days in a row. And on the third day, which was a Tuesday, cheeseburgers on a Tuesday.
I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
That's what it felt like. And I got yelled at on Tuesday. And Tuesday I got yelled at. And I heard that word so loud and so clear. And I was like, what the heck is that, bro? What is a sabbatical? And I was like, only priests do. Only priests and churches take sabbaticals. And I had to get to the deeper spiritual meaning of the context of it. And it was truly revealing for me, because it was revealing to me in present moment. It was revealing to me to not be on schedule. I am a very stable, grounded, organized, oriented person. And when when you're not organized, when you're told to have no organization, everything gets a little weird and a little erratic at the same time. Okay. And so I had many clients that always came to me. They're like, I don't know what to do with myself. I find myself pacing. And so at those moments, I found myself embracing the very same energy in which I have walked through many times, which was the state of being. And the state of being is different for everybody. It's being in flow, being in the process of feeling into the energy and observance and sacred divinity and devotion. And so poor Jose went on this space with me, and it was completely divinely timed. And with what we're bringing forward tonight is a sacred destiny of many different places and spaces. So may each and every word that we jump into light be a light for those that are in different places and spaces themselves for this time. And when Jose and I get together and we get to work with people together, there's just this beautiful partnership of energy and groundedness and realizations and harmonious process that takes place. And so, you know, I wanted to bring forward tonight the purpose, and the purpose is talking about the trust and the obedience and the pause and getting wrapped up in things and having to back off and you know being that mirror for him in a divine unionship. And I always tell him all the time, I'm like, Jay, I hope you know you set the bar and the standard really high for my girlfriends around me. And that's a compliment to the work that he's done, because the people that are my girlfriends that I have around me, they laugh every day because they just have a completely different perspective and a completely different outlook on a divine unionship. And it was personally for me walking through those quiet moments with Jose in a partnership and in a dynamic role where we did everything together, from business to parenting roles to anything. It was always where we did it together. And it was really cool to watch this dance evolve between me and him. But I had to learn from a feminine aspect to trust myself with him, because I knew the type of woman that I needed to be in order to be in a divine unionship, to raise the bar for him, to be the catalyst for his healing, his revealing, and that mirrored aspect of a relationship. And so, from my lens, it was a purification process that I went through at trusting this person. And no bullshit, y'all would laugh at some of this. When this man first came out to my house in 2022, yeah. When he first came out to my house in 2022, it's a great story, and someday we'll tell the full story. But he came out to my house, and he was living out in Cali at the time, and he had met me online and through that space, and we won't get into the details of that process because that's another funny long story. But
Funny, funny's a word.
I'll let him tell his
Funny's
part.
a fucking word.
Let him tell his part of the story. But my part of the story there that interceded was, he was like, yeah, I was like, how long you packing for, bro? I was like, listen, I'll buy your plane ticket out here if you want a mentorship with me. If you really want to mentor with me face to face for 3 weeks, I'll buy your plane ticket out here. So I bought his plane ticket out to Ohio, one-way ticket, man. And I was like, you want to go back?
On Spirit Airlines.
I'll make sure you get back.
Flight 818. All right.
And what time did we come on the podcast tonight?
818. We have come full circle. We have completed a cycle.
So long story short, this poor man was like, I'm packing my bags for 3 weeks and I'm going to do this thing, and I was like, all right, face to face it is. So he came over, and so in this process, my dumbass, my ego thinking, all right, this is about him. All right, here we go. And long story short, through the trusting of the process, if I go in, man, I'm 110. There's nothing that I do in my life that is not 110 full speed. 110. So I went 110 full speed, and my chief comes back to me. What was this? I think it was like 3 weeks after you've been there. No, I think it was like maybe 3 days. Maybe it was 3 days, bro. I don't know, but all I know is it was short. And I was so uncomfortable. I was so uncomfortable because I knew that this was a different, I knew too much.
Mm-hmm.
I had been told about this man for over
Somebody's
4
got to go
years.
first, man. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's got to know something.
I
Shit,
knew
or
too
we're all
much.
screwed.
I
You
knew too
know?
much. And the first thing when he told me, he was like, "Yeah, I'm coming out there for 3 weeks." I was like, "Yeah, right. You coming out here and you ain't leaving." Like, I don't know how I know that you ain't leaving,
But I just
but
know you're
you
not
ain't
leaving.
leaving. You are not leaving.
Yeah, well, truth be told, here we are.
4 years later.
Yep.
And so we're sitting here, and I'm like, "Bro, okay." So I'm like, "All right, so he's not leaving. So what the fuck does this mean?" And I'm so naive. I'm so stupid half the time. I don't even realize what spirit's doing with me. That's why I swear I live by that, the formula to life. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just doing it.
I love the sweater.
So what cracked the code for me in that dynamic of my divinity of learning to trust and learning to trust the process again is my chief and my grandfather, my mom's dad, the one that raised me, the man of all men in my eyes, man. Taught me everything I knew. Taught me morals, taught me integrity, taught me how to drive a car, taught me how to shoot a BB gun, taught me how to play football, taught me how to change the oil, taught me how to change a tire by the time I was 10. Great man. Taught me how to cook, taught me how to grill, taught me all those cool things as a little girl, you know. And they taught me how to whittle sticks, bought me pocket knives, all sorts of cool shit. And so he came to me, and my chief came to me. Now, chief to me is my dad's dad, my grandfather, my crow grandfather, man. And boy, oh boy, came to me and said, "You're gonna trust this man." And I said, "Excuse me." I said, "First of all, I'm on my toes. I have somebody in my house that I've only known for 3 weeks, and now you tell me." So here I am, and I'm just in fluid flow. I'm so naive. I have no idea what's happening. I just don't even really perceive things that I've been told 4 years ago by my mentor. God bless him to this day. I love you, Casper. And sat there, and I'm seriously looking at my chief and my grandfather in meditation. And they said, "Hand him your bank card." And I said, "Excuse me?"
Look, it's pretty obvious at this point that we had really, really bad trust issues. And they were literally throwing it in our face in two different ways so we could mirror each other and reflect on it somehow and figure this shit out.
110%. So with that digression, I had to learn trust and obedience from a different aspect. And I said, "Excuse me?" And so my little self played it off, and I was like, "Here you go." I was like, "Here it is." I was like, "Anything you need, everything you want, it's on that card. You need something, go get it. You want something, go get it."
And to this day, I still ain't done this yet. But it was funny how that went down.
And then they told me to give him my grandfather's ring, and that was at 3 months, and I about had a cow.
Ouch.
I about had a cow. Hello, welcome in, everybody. I about had a cow. It was the most sacred thing that I had. And it was Hopi made. And my grandmother and my grandfather of my mother's side, this is the Hebrew side. And my grandmother from the Hebrew side was in love with Native Americans. It was just like in her blood, even though she wasn't Native. And she wanted to move out to Arizona after the Depression. My grandfather didn't think there'd be work out there, so they didn't stay out there. But a lot of the stuff that I have to this day is from the Hopi Reservation from 1930, 1940. At the, yeah, 1940, 1942, 1943. And those are a lot of the things that I still have to this day. But this ring was turquoise, silver, pure silver, turquoise stone. And what I had to learn most was communication
Bro.
and my tone.
Holy shit.
And there were many times that I felt like I was swallowing a frog with this man. And I was told by Chief, listen, you've been through worse than this, but this is going to be emotionally rock you. And I was like, why? And then I found out why. I found out why because this man was so far in his feminine that I felt like I was healing 10 women at one time. I literally felt like I was healing his whole entire generation at one time. And there were probably a lot of pieces that I did heal generationally in those aspects. But when you're dealing with the masculine that's in their feminine, ladies, I'm telling you what, it is very emotionally draining because the constant reassurance. I am a survivor of a very, very domestic abuse facilitation and relationship. I didn't even need as much reassurance as this man did. Not one. And so when you are dealing with men that are in your masculine, you have to have a lot of patience and you're going to have a lot of validation from your team and you're going to have to be in a lot of devotion and you're going to have to be in a lot of awareness of what is yours, what is not yours, and how to handle that process and alchemize that energy. And so the best process that I had was learning how to communicate. And by communication, I mean tone and I mean listening. Because I would straight up look at this man and I would say, yo, what you say and what you mean are two different things. Go figure that out and then come back to me. And that was my first experience starting a divine union relationship on nothing but truth and authenticity.
It was rough.
It was rough.
I mean, but the only reason that it was rough is because we're so fucking stubborn. Especially me. I didn't realize how stubborn I was till I met you. Okay. I needed somebody to match my energy to show me what the fuck was wrong with me. And there you were. Every step of the way, the mirror. Look at yourself. Look what you have done. Repent.
Yeah, right, bro.
No,
no repentance.
it wasn't like that. I'm
There's
just
only
being fucking
learning.
dramatic. I'm a Pisces.
Yeah, you were very
So-
dramatic. That is
So
one thing
anyway,
that I've learned.
yeah, I was very dramatic.
Yes, bro. I was like, man, why are you being like a 6-year-old little kid right now? You're
Bro,
so
I
dramatic.
felt like a girl.
You were,
Like
for
seriously, you know what I'm saying? I felt like once
real. I can't even say like a girl because that's so stereotypical right now.
Yeah,
but
but
what I can
to
say is you were
me,
so emotional,
yeah.
so you were so invalidated. You were using your emotions so wrong. For
Yeah,
validation.
exactly. But see, that's the thing. That's the beauty of the feminine is the emotional fucking intelligence, bro.
Yeah, that's what.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
what allowed me to conquer this relationship.
That's
was
that's
the,
the
emotional
beauty of the
intelligence.
feminine, and I was like, well, wait a minute, I have that energy too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe I should use my brain more to remember shit. Oh, okay. You know, but that is the beauty. It's like, most women that I know, especially even my young daughter, has the memory of an elephant. You know what I'm saying? It's just, they remember everything, right? And at first, I was jealous of it.
Are you serious?
I was like, why can't I remember shit? I thought my ADD was massive, dude. But also, I was out of alignment. I wasn't asking the right questions. I was assuming, you know?
Boy, the projections from you were so hard, bro. I wanted to punch you in your face like 15
Look,
times
lady,
sometimes a day.
you don't know you got a demon till the shit comes up in your head and you're paying attention to what's going on in your head. I mean, that's my take on it.
You have to be a very strong. Okay, listen, I had to work for this because I was always 3 steps ahead of this man. All right, in my spirituality, in my background, I was already 3 steps ahead of him, and that's what gave me a lot of the what word it's hold on, but it's right up there. The discipline. Thank you. That's what gave me the discipline to actually stay in alignment with him to continue to lead. And as a divine feminine, that was very difficult for me to succeed in, because the masculine energy inside of me wanted to rip him apart, because he didn't know what he was doing to me, and he didn't know what he was doing to himself. And so I couldn't say anything, nothing. I had to hold my tongue. I had to hold my tongue until he came forward to me and was asking me what the reflection was. And when you are working with men and women both in a relationship dynamic, you are being taught to be the observer. You're being taught to be the observer so that you know where to lead and you know where to follow. And if you don't understand yourself, you won't be able to lead and follow. And in the relationship dynamic, I do not believe that it is the masculine state to lead. I believe that it is exactly like Solomon's dance.
Yeah.
And it is not a catch up. It is not anything other than a dance, because anytime that, with all due respect, anytime that Jose drops the ball, bam, I'm right there without even him asking, without even awareness, without even anything. It's just there
Yeah.
naturally.
It's,
And
it's
vice
seldom
versa.
80-20.
Vice versa. It is 110, and it has become a beautiful dynamic, but that is only through the fire and the trenches. And when you are in a relationship, and I know a lot of you are getting ready to meet people and be in the presence of a lot of people, it will show you exactly where your healing is, because when you come into to contact with other spiritual people, it is going to get you to trust your own process, trust your own frequency. And what you're being taught to do is to be in that masculine feminine balance within yourself. And when you are in the masculine feminine balance within yourself, you know when to lead with the feminine, you know when to lead with the masculine. And that's what you guys have been being taught for so long. It just so happens that in this relationship context, we were blessed enough to be emotionally aware and spiritually strong to continue that relationship dynamic, and do I believe that Jose and I have a very special integrated divine connection? 150,000 times over, because it is nothing more than heaven sent. And you guys are getting ready to move into these spiritual dynamics of these kinships, whether it be with men or women both. And if you are in a place of resistance, of not being in observance and thinking that you're going to self sabotage your step every way instead of asking for discernment and clarity and the pathway. I had to be very emotionally strong to not allow his projections and his assumptions upon me to break me, because I could hear his thoughts telepathically. I could feel the energy. I knew what was going on before he even could bat an eye or blink an eye. And this is one of the reasons that many of you women and men alike in this room have been rising in your own masculine and feminine energy, to be able to be in a unionship dynamic, to be able to learn how to communicate with yourself so you can communicate with someone else, learning how to trust the flow in the process. It's not always that, it's the pause. And I know that you guys have a lot of that pause as you receive information, you receive clarification, but you pause to receive the actual validation of that's what's going on, and then you move and flow. When you are coming into connection with another divine human being, there's not a lot of resistance. It's a lot of flow, and it's a lot of learning experience. It's learning yourself in a completely different dynamic. And I truly didn't even understand what I needed fully in a energetic relationship to be able to do what I do. So you are going to find many people that support your pathway that you're on in a frequency dynamic that are equal to you, that do give you validation, men and women both. But when there's a resistance that you feel outside of you, You can't project and completely assume that it's because there's something wrong with them, or there's something that they're carrying, or there's something whatever. You have to sit back and sit with that feeling that you were feeling, and ask for the clarity and ask for the revealing. And so that's the pause, because the message that is being given to you will be given to you in a very peaceful flow way. It comes with complete peace and validation. And there's many more men that are becoming very spiritually aware of themselves, being okay with talking about things that they weren't okay with talking about, and getting to the deeper layers and aspects of things. But if you're afraid to ask those questions, then you're not going to get anywhere. And if you're afraid to ask those questions in a dynamic of vulnerability and relationship context, whether it be business partnership, whether it be in unionship, because a lot of you are getting ready to move into business and doing business things and doing collaborations and stuff like that. And when you move into these unions of collaborations, or places of validation of working with other soul frequency people, you're going to be in dynamics where the energy is equal. And to get to that place of resonance, though, you've got to be whole within yourself, and the unionship within yourself, and you have to be strong in your foundation. You have to be okay with taking everything back to a spiritual dynamic and divination. And that means the clarity and the validation of, okay, what is this resistance? Where am I feeling this resistance? It's everything that you've been taught, but it's just on another level of being able to lead. Women, there's no doubt in my mind that you are leading the masculine energy at this time, meaning you are going to be in relationships with men that are becoming aware of themselves, taking accountability, but they don't know what to do with it, and they don't know what to do with all of these emotions. They don't know why they're feeling them, and they can't express those things. And what you're going to have to do is start and ask some of these tough questions to get to the barrier of things. It was not easy for me to ask these questions that I needed to ask to Jose, that were being given to me in a sacred way, to be like, yo, what's going on here? Because I feel this, I'm hearing this, and I'm being told this, and I'm feeling this and seeing this. What's going on? If you don't ask those questions, you're never going to get anywhere. One of you has got to give in that area of that dynamic.
I think that I think it's really important to know, and this might not be everybody, but for the intuitive people out there, there was I think it was a great philosopher by the name of Descartes, and he literally stated that he lived with a demon inside of his head, right? And that realization in my personal life, as I'm going through this unionship and going through, kind of like the tear down, and the buildup, is that what, and even to this day, sometimes, believe it or not, is that there will be these thoughts that come out of nowhere that's associated with a feeling all of a sudden out of nowhere, right? And then for a moment, you pause and you freak out, because you're like, what is this energy? And you don't realize that there's something playing inside of your head because of your insecurities, because of your doubts, because of your instabilities, because of your fear, because of your lack of self-worth. There's a bunch of stuff, right? And you realize that the trauma or the inconsistency or the not knowing or the insecurity is the window for to allow these things to come into your life, into your head, especially when you start becoming the observer, which I had to learn that the hard way, because I thought that everything was talking to me and it was all trash. You know what I'm saying? And then, I had to pull myself out of hell basically in that space, realizing that there is some truth to that, that when you're in divine reflection, when you're in this space with another, and then they become your mirror, you will deal with many windows that need to be shut in your life, because it is not of love. It is not of authenticity, and it is not of truth, and it is not of destiny. So everything else goes. It's wiped out. because it's not authentic to the divine unionship or the union space where the masculine and the feminine are in balance and harmony, right? Some people in the brain will call it the balancing of the hemispheres, which is inside of our minds, right? And then you have kind of like the male female aspect or masculine feminine roles. Either way, it's a balance, right? And when you come into balance, you realize that all these things that we just spoke of right there through our experiences, that these are some of the things that I would have to say as a man I went through that men go through. Okay. And I believe some of you have had that in your lives as well, regardless. It's not even about a gender, to be honest with you, because either one can be in the opposite, you know? But when you realize what's happening in the relationship, and this is about that knowing that she's talking about, it's like, they're going to be fucking triggered. When the energy gets imbalanced, when your partner's going through something. Don't be afraid, even though that there will be a lot of fearful things or probably inconsistencies, maybe even screaming or shouting in some cases, right? Because all the impurity is being torn away, and it's almost like you're in agony in that moment, but you don't know how to communicate those things, and you don't realize you're going through an ego death. But you know when all this stuff comes out, it can make or break you, man. It can make you want to leave one another. I tried to walk out that house, I don't know how many times, okay? Because I was
I didn't
scared.
keep him there.
I was
I let him
scared,
go. I was like, there's the door,
but
bro.
I was scared of myself. I was scared of being vulnerable.
Yeah.
I was scared of being transparent.
Mm-hmm.
I was scared of trusting anyone outside of my head.
Mm-hmm.
You
But
know,
yet you couldn't trust your head. That's the other fucked
you know
up
what I'm
part.
saying? But I trusted the head that was full of shit
Mm-hmm.
more,
Yeah.
more than what was actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our experience, that I'm talking about. But I don't see anybody else not having to go through some type of reflection of themselves just to
Mm-hmm.
see that there's beauty in both of you,
Mm-hmm.
that there's a beauty inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're willing to look and move past every limitation and every boundary that you placed on yourself in survival mode. I guess that's the easiest way to say it, because everything that is done from a survival space suits you only to the point where now you release those things.
110% though, at the same time, if you wouldn't have been devoted to your spiritual connection and your spiritual path,
We hadn't gotten there yet, but yeah.
there there would have been no type of growth. You know what I mean? And for me, I was lucky enough to be able to be in a place where I had helped you build that foundation before a lot of the relationship revelations took place. Like, I got smacked over the head in realization where I was in love with you, and that's another story for another day. But that's his favoriteest story, because it's funny. It really is funny. But in that space, it was like if you wouldn't have had the foundation for the calling of something more, of spiritual devotion, of trying to connect, of wanting to understand and seeking, you there would be no connection here, because
Yeah.
there'd be no growth.
The sick and tired of being sick and tired.
If you wouldn't have taken the opportunities that were given to you to be able to grow, the relationship would have always been imbalanced, and it wouldn't have been able to succeed. And so in building now, see, I come from a place in a space where I had already had Four Corners Healing 37 going on before Jose came around. And then that took off in a completely different space. We started working over there together. We started doing a lot of different coaching and mentorship together. And that was after a good year and a half that you had mentored with me, because I wouldn't let you really do anything with me. I was told he wasn't allowed to do anything with me for like first year and a half. He could do his own readings and stuff like that, but we couldn't do anything energetically together because he needed that healing and revealing and peeling that he was going through.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was able to add him on in that space. And in that divine harmony and balance and flow, There was a lot of teaching that I had to go through in the process of working with him with hearing and seeing and feeling and
Oh my
confirmation.
God, dude. No, it was.
And only through you wanting more and only through you seeking what that looked like for you, like once again you were given the tools and you chose to use the tools, because
Mhm.
many times women come into relationships with men where there's no growth and the woman is growing and the woman is changing, right?
Mhm.
And there's no growth, but it happens in both dynamics. Masculines can come into relationship with women where there's no growth because there's choice not to change. So you chose to change, you chose to seek for more, and a lot of people now are wanting that type of harmonization and dynamic.
Yeah.
And so when you started to cultivate your own niche and your own dynamic and what you felt like those things for you is where you started to lead your own pathway. It's that throwing a kid in the pool and just letting them sink or swim. And so you went through that quote unquote gauntlet per se in that space where you were put to the test of of what your spiritual attunements and your gifts and stuff like that looked like. And so we worked through that space with Four Corners for a long time, and then we were asked to build Womb of the Ancient Sun, which is the nonprofit, um, in that space, which will be the physical sanctuary. And so in that process there was a lot of change, and there was a lot of what Jose thought he was that he started to slowly finally dive into these cool niches of one space, and it was really about revealing to him parts of him. And if people don't choose to seek or to understand the awareness of why they do what they do, there won't be any cycles breaking. There won't be any growth. And his growth, then, of course, because he was growing, Spirit was forcing me to grow so that I could continue to lead in that space for him. And what he flowed into was beautiful realizations, and he's tapped into mediumship and he's tapped into interstellar consciousness and higher dimensional consciousness. Where he flows is in sound frequency, the chakra systems balance, man. And he had to learn that his emotions were his most attributed asset that he had. And it was such a beautiful gift to watch you personally, from soul to soul, human to human, man, homie to homie. Like, this dude is my homie. I mean, 110%. Like, I won't say it any other way. It's my best friend, man. We always sing it all the time. It's like my buddy and me, right? Like that's the foundation of our relationship. We became very close best friends. And for a lot of women, we can love anybody, but to like somebody is completely different. And I was like, bro, I like you. And like at that time, he couldn't realize what a compliment that was. He couldn't. And he took it personally as something bad. And I'm like, no, it's actually a really good thing. Because I can love a lot of people as a feminine. I can pour my love in multiple different ways and examples. But for me to like someone and be able to flow with someone is truly a beautiful experience in a balancing place of harmonies. And so it was cool to see him start to flow in his own space with Four Corners Healing 37, and he started to build his thing in his niche, and his emotions and his intuitive connection that he has in feeling vibration and frequency is so enlightening. And I just want you to tap into that for a minute, man, and just kind of talk about that process for you of your spiritual growth, not as a masculine, just period, as a human soul in a relationship dynamic where that growth in that process, where what you thought you were to be to where you're evolved to now in the frequency and the sound. How did you flow into that process? How did you find yourself, bro?
Well, what do you mean? That's a trick question.
No, it's not.
Yeah, How did I find myself? Well, not only with, man, like I got to give all the credit to God, you know what I'm saying? But also at the same time, it's all the credit to you because of the mentorship space,
Mm,
you
thank you.
know, because, I literally started with somebody who could literally channel, beings and do readings and stuff like that, just like, kind of a lot of people out there, or at least the people that I used to watch, right? And then slowly but surely, I realized that it was an honoring of the spirit that I am, along with the spirit that is us.
Mm,
And
beautifully
that's
said.
where things really changed,
Mm,
because you don't realize how much of yourself you're actually missing till you tune into that,
mm,
till you ask for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's love, man.
mm,
And love destroys all trust issues, all
mm,
doubts, all insecurities. It's just knowledge,
mm.
wisdom, and you get to experience the how of how things work in your life. You know what I'm saying? It's like a whole different perspective on your life that you evolve into. You know, the biggest thing that changed my life and gave me clarity was the day that we had that fucking conversation.
Which one, Jane?
The one where, who knows how to be a man
Oh, yeah, yeah. That was beautiful
in
conversation,
this
man.
world?
Yeah.
No one knows how to be a man in this
I
world.
that
Everybody
that's
has an idea
deep.
of
Yeah.
what it is to be a man in this world,
Yeah.
you know? But who better to know than God, than the divine source itself? So I chose and I asked, and I asked for them to show me what it is to be a divine being in a human form. I asked them what it's like to be a true divine masculine.
Thank you
Show
that
me
day.
how to be that. And here we are.
I remember that day because I remember saying that to you. Because I remember you kind of like you were going through a shadow work space, and you were going through a space of revealing yourself and peeling yourself away. And I think it was day two. And I remember it because you were where I swear I remember one of these. I remember each one clear as day. You were by the kitchen table, you were wearing a white shirt, and you were like, babe, like I have so much anxiety, and I'm so like, I did it. You're trying to figure these things out. There was a lot going on inside that you were trying to compute, and the emotions just wouldn't come out. And you were frustrated with yourself because you were trying to develop something. Yeah, I can't remember what you were getting into at that time, but you were developing something for yourself. You were also working outside of the house at that time. And then you sat there and you were like having a meltdown about being a man, right?
Yeah, that was it.
Because you were having a meltdown about being a man because you were like, the only example I have is my father and da 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 da. And you were going through this process of breaking down the things that you found to be worthy of keeping in your generation, of things that you felt were good traits, right,
Mm-hmm.
of keeping, right.
Yeah,
And
we
you were
talked about
going
that
through
today.
the dismantling of the belief system of what you wanted to leave astray, right.
Yeah.
And I remember that, and you sat there and you were like, da, 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 man. And I looked at you and I was like, well, where in the dictionary does it have the definition of what a man is? Can you please tell me? You want to tell me what a man is? Because ain't nobody know what a man is but God.
But God.
And he was like,
So you know what God did? Showed me her.
mm,
And that's how I found God. It was
mm,
sitting right next to me the whole time.
mm,
It was the divine reflection.
that's so cool.
You know what I'm saying? The
I
mirror.
didn't even know that.
Because I used to call her God's mirror
All the time.
all the time.
He saw all the shit, felt all the shit. He'd see it all the time.
I used to call her God's mirror because the first thing that she would do is literally pull, just it would come up as such a profound healer with such a profound presence that
Mm,
literally it would shake you
mm,
in the presence. You know what I'm saying? And that was kind of like the first time we met too, but it shakes the truth out of you. the divine mirror does, and that's God's mirror, and that's how I saw God in her, and I was like, that's why God created a woman, so I can see God in her too.
You have to,
and then in myself.
Yeah.
But I had to see it in her first to give me a profound example of what it is to see it in myself. And that's why I walked damn near step by step
in my path,
in her path, for them to show me what it's like to be her. Okay, not everybody gets that opportunity. But when you're following in somebody's footsteps on the way to God, to wholeness, to fullness, to the higher self, to you, just understand that it's a beautiful walk. Okay, from there on out, when you figure out what's really happening and what's going on in your life, it's like, oh, bro, it's almost like the finger comes, and I feel like a little kid, like I'm grabbing God's finger, and I'm like, yeah, take me the fuck out of here, bro, and show me what's real. Yeah. Show me how to be what we were meant to be in its image, they say. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't come from a place of illusion. It comes from a place of doing the work. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really passionate about that, about doing the work, because I've done so fucking much to be where I'm at and have the abilities that I have. When I met her, I would feel shit. I would hear things or assume that I was hearing things. Now it's the whole enchilada. Oh, maybe we should plug that in. Excuse me, fam. I'm not exactly sure what happened here.
So in that process, that's one of the things that him and I have always said, and I told him a while ago. I was like, I could always see everybody's self, and I could always see what Jose was to become in his talent, skills, gifts, and abilities, part of his destiny. Not everything was completely revealed to me exactly, but it was later on revealed to me, of course, in many different details, our past, present, and future, and that tie goes really deep, and he has done so much work on himself to become the Christ-centered being he was intended to be, and all of you are in your becoming. You are just becoming that Christ-centered being that you had set out to be a long time ago. And in the sound and the frequency and vibration, I really want to talk about that harmonization, because I just think it's a cool thing. I resonate with bass and drums. So my thing has always been, get me the biggest mother drum. I want the grandmother drum. Get me the bongo drums. Let me go to work, because I come from a deeper tone, a deeper beat. It's the frequency of Gaia in which really resonates in through my body. And so I always understood that feeling of bass and of drums, because I always felt that way. But when Jose started going and he was like, I really want these bowls, and I really want these bowls, and I was like, all right, we'll figure out.
No, I want more bowls.
We'll figure it out. Well, we got those about 2 years ago, so it makes sense. And so I was like, all right, we'll figure it out. And so I remember the day he went and got those bowls, and he's played the crap out of those bowls.
Yeah, and they look weathered.
They're like church bells. If anybody wants to make a donation to buy Jose new bowls, you can make a donation to the ministry. But he's played the crap out of those bowls, and they sound like church bells. And when he plays that resonance of frequency, you feel it like the solfeggio frequencies inside your body. And a lot of people don't know that the frequencies that they listen to on YouTube at nighttime, 583, 111, 963, all that, they're not the vibration of the intact solfeggio frequency.
Yeah, the integrity of the frequency is not accurate. It's not 100.
Not at all. And so when you feel the actual real tone and vibration of the sound and of the frequency, you can feel it in your body. And if it's a true frequency on YouTube that you're listening to, then you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it in throat. You're gonna feel it in your chest. You're gonna feel it in your solar plexus. You're gonna feel it in your root. You're gonna feel the solfeggio frequencies in your body. And he has become so in tune with this vibration. It was so cool at this event that we did. And I didn't get to personally witness it because I was being mom with children that day at the same time. But long story short, he went into the meditation tent, and as soon as you went into the meditation tent, there were like 5 people that followed you in the meditation tent.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
it was like Jose and his sound frequency was just the ultimate thing.
These people were ready, man.
And
There were ladies in there that they knew exactly what to do with the mat, that they sat there in their pose, they got in, they started their breath work and everything, bro. I am at a spiritual festival. This is the first experience I've ever had. Mm-hmm. And there were some pros in the front. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then there was people in the back. It was beautiful. And then we started playing the bowls. And, it's funny because, like, the euphoria that you witness, mm-hmm. and after the fact, when the sound healing is done, mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, kind of like when I do energy healing on people, or when we do Reiki, we just, they're not there anymore.
They're not there. Yeah, they're not there. You got to give them a minute to slowly.
You got to wake them up. Back. So I usually take the root ball and I'll go, bing. Yeah. Bing. And I'll bang it 3 or 4 times. I'm like, hey, bring them back. Yeah.
It's just a beautiful tone and resonance. But I remember when you started playing with the solo drum, and you were starting playing with the solo drum, and it just didn't feel right, and the mojo just didn't come for you there, right?
Mm-hmm, no.
And then we got you the sound bowls, and the sound bowls were dope. And then all of a sudden, you took this sound. We got Jose got certified in sound frequency and vibration and understanding sound, word, frequency, vibration, tone, all of it. And it's funny how our teachings coincide, because I use sound and frequency and vibration, but in a completely different resonation when it comes to shamanic context and shamanic energy work. And so, just for instance, I use, when I go into journeys with people, a lot of times I use the mother drum, and I'll use the mother earth vibration, and there's different tones of resonance of drumming. And if you have ever watched anybody in a native sacred ceremony, the medicine wheel, okay, so the big grand drum that they play has the context set up as a medicine wheel resonance. And so you will see somebody at north, south, east, west, but you also see people at the in-between. And then normally, if you look at the mallets have different colors on them because they're a different higher tone. North, south, east, west is usually a deeper, lower resonance, and then the in-betweens are of a higher resonance. And you can also see that they're beating in different parts of the drum. That's because of the sound and the frequency and the vibration that is drummed at that point in time. And so he works with it on a different level than I work with it on, but I have the understandings of all that in that vibration. But the way that he does it comes from such an etherical harmonic. It sounds so freaking angelic. Well, and the way you put it together, bro,
it's funny.
It's just amazing.
I was just talking about this yesterday, and I was like, you know what? I used to play them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a standard chakra set.
Yeah,
I used to play them like a standard chakra set, right?
Yeah.
And the more experience I had with the bowls, the more creative it come in, the more intuitive I became, the more I had the ability to channel that intuitive sense, that feeling, that flow, that rhythm, that passion.
Yeah.
And then that's where it really changed for me, because it made me realize, and this is what I said yesterday, everybody plays sound bowls, but do they make them sing?
Yeah, bro. Like, you just got this magic, like little fairy dust.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you just got this magic, and that's been your thing. That's your calling. That's your niche. That's your vibration. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not going to be other things that you do in the in-between. That's just your love right now and your passion, right? Mm-hmm. And that love and passion and vibration may change. but you really help people with the solar activation, is what Spirit's telling me. And so the collaboration of that person and the energy and the solar activation that you're giving them for clarity, for courage, for strength, for their solar space, because it's like, for whatever reason, Spirit's showing me right now that even if you're working on the root or the crown or whatever in vibration, you're activating their solar chakra. All those pieces just naturally are activating the solar chakra. And when you do the sound bowls, and I don't know if this is true, but for me personally, when I get into the mixture of the Egyptian Reiki and I'm working, I combine three different places at one time. I walk on the fringe of all things. So when I work with people and I do a DNA cellular activation or I do a womb restoration, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm using shamanic tools, okay, in vibration.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also using a lot of different, I'm using the background of Egyptian cultivation and Reiki and then quantum healing at the same time. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
mixing three different dynamics of healing at the same time when I do soulful cleanses and remove contracts and soul contracts and etherical contracts. And I have a question for you.
Okay.
Is there a certain tone, sound, vibration, or frequency that helps that demographic remove that easier than that space? So when I'm mixing three things together, right, and you're mixing three different sounds of resonance together,
Mm-hmm.
right, in the same vibration, is there a vibration that you specifically use in sound healing and frequency to remove soul ties or soul contracts? Or do you know if that even personally exists? Because everything does. I'm just asking if you have figured out the intertwining of the combination. I just think that that would be really cool to pair that space in a place, because for me, I'm using three places at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So are there three vibrations that you might play etherically per se that does a certain thing that's more mm, energetically intentionalized, right? Because so like when somebody does Reiki, right, they believe in Hinduism that if you say it three times, then it intentionalizes it more, right? It holds more power, right, on top of speaking it, seeing it, and intentionalizing it. So is there that type of coding and vibration and sound heat frequency or vibration? I'm just asking
That's totally.
if you pair the frequency.
Well, yeah. When you combine frequencies, it's like combining your DNA strands because your DNA is a sound wave.
Correct.
It's a record.
Okay, I'm just asking if there's a specific tone. Now, I mean, I know they
That
say
I
like
can play.
that. I mean, I know they say like certain tones of hearts do certain things, but I'm
Absolutely.
telling you, I've never, I've never felt that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Anytime that I've listened to some type of remove all negativity from my auric field, remove soul contracts, cleanse or heal. I'm just being honest, there's none of that feeling in my
There.
vibration. But when you listen to the cultivation of the sound frequency and vibration of the bowls that you play systematically, is there a vibration that you could play that would do something to the neural pathways of quantum healing in that resonance? Because when I mix three different things together, I'm literally healing that aspect on a whole vibration and I'm getting to the quantum level. So when you play sound frequency and vibration, does it get to the cellular level, the atomic level of resonance, the quantum level of resonance? And is there a space where you can actually put a certain type of frequency together that will digress that space
Yes.
and break those
Yes,
cords?
but it's
Okay.
important to know that it's intentionalized. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah.
It's the intention because the intention allows you to bring in the frequency. But because the bowls were, basically the bowls are limited, but through meditation and my ability to channel,
Hmm.
I can harmonize that vibration. So
Yes.
there is an additional thing
Yes.
that I am doing. I am using my body
Yes, as part of
as
the
a channel
resonance
to
and the
channel the
battery.
energy. You know what I'm saying? So that's the second step. So I'm playing the bowls.
Right.
I'm playing different frequencies and I'm making them sing, and then I'm channeling the energy. And of course, I'm communicating
Right.
and, kind of like figuring out which ones to play and how.
Right, because you're being communicated to on what needs the breakthrough and
Yeah.
what they're holding on to and what needs the clearing and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
Okay, that's all I was trying to get to. And I apologize, I couldn't put it into the proper
Well,
verbalization
what
and
I really
context
wanted
to
to
help you
tell
understand.
what I wanted to tell you was, yes, it's completely and totally possible, because if you think about it from the principles of density, right?
Mm-hmm.
So our ability to absorb energy, sound, vibration, frequency, you know what I'm saying? This is why they tell you, oh, you have a lot of resistance. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's a lot of resistance, or you're
Dense, heavy.
very dense and
Mm-hmm.
heavy, right? And well, we go through the process of awakening and enlightening, which we enlighten this body
Body. Yep.
from its physical bond, from its energetic bondage, and we feel better about ourselves. Cells are more responsive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you think about the principles of density, basically, I gotta play them fucking loud sometimes.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Because nobody's the same.
No.
Nobody's the same, and depending on what they actually have going on, to be able to open that up and to bring it to the front requires different combinations, different activations, different channeling of the energy and moving of the chi. So
Mm-hmm.
there's so much going on,
Yeah.
because there's energy just literally whooshing around
Yeah,
the
it's
room
like
while they're
swirling
being
around them,
penetrated
treading.
with sound,
Yeah.
and then they're realizing that there's shit moving on inside of them, and they're like, oh shit, or maybe they can feel
Mm-hmm.
like the resistance being
Yes.
pushed on
Yeah.
and pushed away. And sometimes we'll take a break, because there'll be some type of emotional release, and then we'll
Yeah.
continue and we'll move on. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be, and this is just like the mind, it's like a head game. You got to be louder than the voice that's keeping you from your destiny.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I
You know
tell
what I'm
everybody.
saying?
Yeah,
And when it comes to your cellular structure, we're breaking it down to the particles of energy, the quantum, the
yes, the
level.
quantum resonance. Yeah,
So we push all the way to that level
yeah,
eventually. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Given the combinations that we do, because what we're doing is we're opening up the system.
Right,
And then, depending on the ailment or what we were talking about earlier, we
right,
can just, okay, now we are prepared to focus that energy, and then bam,
right.
and then it'll push through that. But there always is, you know what I'm saying? And from an energetic standpoint, everything's there.
Mm-hmm,
From a reflective standpoint,
mm-hmm.
that's where the work begins. You know what I'm saying? Or the work
Yeah.
gets done, or it becomes obvious that you no longer need whatever it is that came to the surface. So yes, it is possible.
In my growth and in my process of moving those three dynamics of chi energetically, at first, I know people are gonna probably laugh at me, and I don't give a shit. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is.
Can I laugh at you?
Of course, you always laugh. When do you not laugh at me, dude? You always laugh at me. I am like the
You're my
tyrant,
best friend, dude. If I don't
dude.
fucking laugh at you, dude, we got a
We
problem.
got a fucking
We got
problem.
a fucking problem.
And if you didn't laugh at me, I think there'd be something
Yeah,
wrong
and
with
if
you.
you weren't making fun of me, I think that there was something wrong too.
Yeah, I know. We get to do that. That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
I know. All right. So, long story short, in my evolution of the process of energy and working in that vibration, everything for me is a lot of seeing, right? So I see, I just see, I just see, I just see. I can see the energy, I can see the blockages, I can see the cords intertwined, I can see the etherical, I can see the soulful place that's shut off. And that's where it really starts when I start reading somebody energetically. So I can see all of that on a physical, energetic level. And then we get into the quantum resonance of I can see the cells, I can see the anatomy
Right.
of the body of a human being, of what's being affected, what meridians are being affected. I can see degenerative tissue where somebody has dis-ease or there's cells that are reprogrammed in the vibration. There's been a lot of different people that I've worked with in many different aspects and backgrounds where I can actually see the deterioration of whatever ailment they're actually going through. I get to see the blood capsules, the blood vessels, the capsules actually going through the blood. I can see everything down to that level, when I get them to the level of the anatomy of the cells, finally, when they get me down to the level of the cells, then I'm into blackness.
Yeah, you get down to the dust.
Nothing. And most of the time, people are in this room, most of the time, when I'm at this place and at this space, I'm channeling, but what I'm channeling is information
Hmm.
through word and vibration.
Hmm.
Now, for me, where that started is I felt like I really had to do something with the energy. I had to move it, I had to pull it, I had to push it away. And for some people, I still have to move the energy of the vibration in that way for them.
Hmm.
But now, in my energetic resonance, I am just in the presence of, and I can see it all happening, and I can feel it all happening, and it just naturally dissipates and happens. Plus, at the same time, it's just the higher state of mind that I'm in, of the work that I'm doing, that I'm channeling. So, this is how it works for me now in my development. I'm probably giving some super secrets away. I probably shouldn't, but I don't give a shit because I don't gatekeep nothing.
That's all right, dude.
But long
Everything's gonna be
story short,
different tomorrow anyway. We're good.
okay, but long story short, so when I'm sitting this quantum vibration, right? Okay, what I am in is I'm half in and I'm half outer body at this time that this is going on. So I know the energy is being facilitated through me because I'm just naturally channeling the chi. As they're showing me and telling me what is wrong with the person in dis-ease and disorder, whether it be emotional embodiment, okay, inside the emotions of the chakras, energetic body outside the energy body, the tritosphere, right?
Hmm.
Or it's on a deeper physical level of organ, right?
Hmm.
I'm literally speaking what's wrong with them, and in those very moments that I'm speaking what's wrong with them, it's all changing. Bam, 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 bam. And the moment that I'm channeling and giving that word and tone vibration of what's wrong with them, it lights up and it completely starts to dissipate and change.
Hmm.
At first, I would have to move the vibration, I would have to pull that vibration out. Now I'm in a place, in a space where I'm just naturally talking to the person or delivering that word or vibration, and it's just coming off of them in resonance and in vibration. It's like it's the spoken word,
Hmm.
it's the presence of, it's the knowing in the presence of. And when I put my body in that energetic state and the presence of, there's no hesitation, and so it's just facilitation. So it naturally just happens anyway. It's cute. Sometimes I have some clients that are like, well, can you do that thing that you do? And I'm like, what thing that I do? And they're like, can you move the energy, or like, do that energy work like that? And I was like, it's hard for me to do something that I can just naturally do through a spoken word and vibration and seeing the energy move. And that's how it
Voice
is in
is a
cultivation for
profound
me.
healing tool. As a matter of fact, it's the biggest healing tool.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do the sound therapy with the
Yeah.
sound therapy
Yeah.
101, and then when I follow up with 202, if you
Yeah.
want to be a practitioner and stuff like that, I cover that.
Yeah.
Because it's a very beautiful thing to understand.
Yeah.
And it's the fifth, it's the ether,
There,
it's the voice,
yes.
it's the throat. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? Like, mm. And if you actually tune into things like that, you realize that they create different harmonics inside of your body. It's like you can feel it in your throat. Here we are in the physical, right? But for a lot of sensitive people out there, when you practice that, even humming, have you noticed that humming soothes you?
Yeah, and if you hum while you try to meditate, you can't think of nothing else. So hum. If those of you that can't shut off your brain and you're trying to learn to meditate, you can hum and it'll shut off everything. Or Jose's favorite one is just pay attention to your breath.
Yeah, listen to your breath, because when you're paying attention to your breathing, you're not thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do both?
Can I think and hum at the same time? No.
No.
That,
So,
yeah.
Focused intent, fam.
That'd be
It's
like
one of
me.
your most profound lessons. Learn how to focus your intent by focusing on one thing and one thing only. And that's the beauty of meditation. What it teaches is that when you're just savoring the breath, and I tell people this all the time, savor the breath. Enjoy the fact that you're fucking breathing, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what you got going on. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
trust me. I was ready to die and I did this. Okay. And I literally woke the fuck up and I became this, over time. But
You mean
when
the
you have,
most authentic version of yourself?
yeah, the most
You say
authentic
this.
version of myself.
He's like, I became this.
I say this for fucking comedy, dude. What the fuck? I mean, we only live once, bro.
YOLO, motherfucker. I just thought it was hilarious that you were like, the way you said it, it was priceless. Keep going, please.
Shit, I can't remember what the hell we were talking about.
I don't know either.
Yep.
I
You,
lost
you
it.
just love it when this happens.
I too.
I know I was talking about molecular frequencies when we were talking about energy healing and particles, which I have the perspective of seeing that from the
Sound
particle
frequency, yes.
space, the frequency space, the harmonic space,
Yes.
right?
But I can actually see what it does to the body. That's what's crazy.
I just know flow.
I just
That's
see
it.
flow.
Because, like, dude, when it's like, it's not even, I can't say that it paints a picture. If I focused on it, it probably would. But it's just a movement.
Right. So
You know what I'm saying?
You feel the movement.
I feel the
see
movement.
the movement.
You know what I'm saying? And I just go with the movement and I move the movement.
Mm-hmm.
Even bowls, hands. You know what I'm saying?
We were talking about word.
Oh, we
and
were
the
talking about spoken word and how powerful that was as a healing tool.
Yeah.
And the ether. That's what we, and this is what's beauty about that is like, and how it brings you peace. And it's like, well, how the fuck did humming get me out of my shitty behavior? You know what I'm saying? Or my sadness.
Yeah.
So what were you saying?
That's what we were talking about, is humming. If you hum, or if you just pay attention to the sacred breath, there's no room for thought.
Yeah, there's no room for thought at all. And that's the beauty, is that then when you become the observer, then you get to hear the thoughts that are not you.
That's the most important point, is being able to separate yourself from that
everything else.
And one of the things that was really cool that they broke down today for me inside my head, I've had some beautiful, cool realizations, especially about the transmissions that I've received over the last 5 years. And one of the cool things that they said to me is, you had to learn to refrain. Oh, no, hold on. You had to learn to refrain, the voices, the different voices inside your head. All right. And until the only voice was left, right? The one voice, right? That one voice is where all your choices come from, because when you learn that voice, you won't step into alternate spaces that maybe once were flashed in your face, per se, right? So the demons in your brain, you had to refrain from the demons inside your brain from which you came, until my voice was the only one that remained. And it's because you have I remember when I was helping you, and even I went through this myself, because I hear so much, where we had to work through the monitoring spirits versus your telepathic communication, right? You picking up, I can hear everything. And then the monitoring spirits, and then your own self, and then the telepathic thought process. And I remember you going through that space, and in the only thing that would help clear you out when you were in a place of doubt or distress of questioning your vibration was sound and word. And I remember there was many times when they would just have me speak to you or talk to you, and your energy would just go and just completely be like, "Whoa, that makes sense." The practical aspects.
Yeah, because you bring harmony with your words,
right,
and with your speaking.
Facts, 110%. I create stability and transition.
Yeah, because
and so in the dynamic of the word and the frequency, and what we were teaching in a sense is, when you get to sound, frequency, and vibration, you realize how it's this overall wholeness and vibration. You thought it was just one thing, but the actual resonance, I think it's just beautiful how you play this role in sound, frequency, and vibration, and you can feel the energy flow.
So I can fucking understand it.
And you can understand it. I can see it, and I can be of it to be able to understand it for somebody else and what's going on in their dynamic of flow.
The energy itself speaks to me.
Exactly. And it shows me itself in multiple different ways of how to help that healing vibration play. So in this space, I just wanted to, introduce people to Jose. For those of you that have not seen him, met him before in any dynamic, all of his sound baths and full moon stuff is over there on Four Corners Healing 37. There are quarter moon events and seminars that Womb of the Ancient Sun is putting on, so you can check out that vibration as well. So there's going to be full moon and new moon events over at Four
Yeah,
Corners
we got the
Healing, and
full
then
moon coming up in here in a day or two.
yeah, and then we've got the
3.
quarter. Yeah, on the 5th, we've got the quarter moons,
Yeah.
the last quarter moon and the new quarter moon seminars that I'm going to be running because they asked me to do that in
So good
astrology.
though, man.
They asked me to set it up that way in
So good though.
astrology, and
It's
I didn't know
divine,
why.
dude. It's perfection.
A lot of the things we work on in separation and don't even realize what
That
we're
we're
cultivating
doing it in
together.
unison. It's fucking awesome.
No clue, because I went to him last night and I was like, Jay, when are your sound healings going on for a vibration? And he was like, new full moon. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this at quarter moons because the last quarter and the new quarter.
And it had already crossed my mind, so I went ahead and I did the events for first quarter, and I ended up doing events
Yeah.
for that thing. And then she comes and she tells me, she's like, this is my plan. I'm going to do this for the first and the third, for the quarters of the moon.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to cancel my events right now. Thank you, Spirit.
Because,
you know what I'm saying?
well, because with the involvement, it's like a lot, right? So it's like sometimes it's too much on that space and in that place with other things that you've got going on.
Yeah.
Two events, 2 seminar events a month are beautiful, especially when they're astrologically aligned with the cosmos. And the quarter moons, people don't realize how much an important role the quarter moons actually play in one's life. With the last quarter,
when you're
and the
studying,
first quarter
I say, besides astrology, when you're studying your cycles, your patterns, you're really trying to really know yourself or discover yourself, or try to fix something, a flaw, or something that makes you feel like shit. These things are important, right? Understanding your cycles, understanding the waves of evolution,
Yeah,
and how
cyclical.
it works.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, like, literally, one of the easiest ways for pattern recognition is, let's use the 28-day moon cycle. 14 days, you're going up. You come to this realization from this new moon, which is a new you, because the old you no longer exists, because every day that happens. You know what I'm saying? We just assume that everything's the same, when in reality it's just our perspective of what the fuck we're looking at on a daily basis. Cheer up. It helps with looking at things differently. I don't know who needed to hear that. But anyway, every time I make a joke, it's like I forget what the hell I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I should just stop doing that. But I can't remember what the hell I was.
Cyclical,
I had a beautiful point.
days,
Oh, the cycle. So basically, the new moon, new you come in, and then you go up. You're basically on cloud 9 or trying to fix shit out from the last cycle, or maybe you're a little bit sensitive, or your bell's rung, or you have a new ability, and you're trying to work on an ability. Boom. So you have this precipice all the way to the full moon, and it's basically like an exchange, a currency. So whatever it is that you're giving away on the full moon, surrendering to, releasing, decluttering, deconnecting, whichever way you want to look at that. I know there's plenty of words for it. When you're in that process, you are in the pinnacle energy. That's the harvest. You know what I'm saying? It's like, take this energy, and it's already pushing the shit out of you because it's coming up in your head. Let it go. Right? And then once you do this, or you refuse, then you go into another cycle. You know what I'm saying? But there's always some type of shit that goes on in between till the new moon, because you've chosen to engage in stubbornness or ignorance, or just the lack of realization. You know what I'm saying? Lack of meditation is what Spirit is also saying. So that's one of the easiest ways to study the frequency. You know what I'm saying? Because you come to this pinnacle, the full moon, which is all about clearing. You know what I'm saying? And then it's the settling and the coming into and embracing this new energy. Now that you've released this energy, become less dense or more clear. And now you come into the new cycle of the moon, where you're learning. You know what I'm saying? And right in between that 14-day span, right around the 7-day span, is that quarter, right? Which is like, hey, check yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because it's really important, right? Because that way you know where you're headed when you get there, and you actually prepare yourself for whatever may come, whether ego, death, tower moment, big change, da 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 da. you know?
Well, it's all astrological, and it's all astrological in the blueprint of things to your own personal development, your own
Oh
level
man.
of soul growth. And so, the cycles are important for people to understand. Just in the demographic, I'm gonna break this down real quick. So you got the full moon, right? So think about it like this. Every time that the full moon is waxing, which means the moon is adding on, so it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and stronger and stronger and stronger. The moon is adding on, okay? It becomes full. Then, after it's full, it starts to wane, which means it starts to go away. All right, it starts to digress, it starts to fade, quote unquote, per se. When it is a new moon, it is actually a dark moon, zero moon, no moon. And when you truly want to manifest is when the new moon is at 1%
Yeah, because that's when the sun starts bouncing off the moon,
and making
intensifying
it
the
glow,
energy of the moon and creating your new cycle.
creating the new cycle. Exactly. And so, in that cyclical pattern, if you understand what the moon is doing there, you're understanding that there's a buildup, like you said, and then a breakthrough, a breakdown in that process. But how it's happening in each person's individual life is completely different and huge based upon their level of understanding and their level of awareness of themselves and what they're connecting to and what they're feeling and what they're hearing and what their body is aligning to and resonating with at this time. So there's a lot of different pieces that go into that space of being, it's a being checking yourself is the best way to say it.
Yeah,
And there's an authenticity that spirit has been asking for many to rise into, of truth, of clarity, of taking and peeling off the masks, and the
yeah.
overburdening energy process of what you think things have to be, and allowing the natural flow to just be. And people want the authenticity because what is spirit? Spirit's the authentic. It's the
Spirit
pure
is
form.
also you.
You are. And so, at this time, a lot of the energy work that you guys are getting into and working with your Maharic Shield and your Merkabas and going through the emotional trenches that you're going through. There's people moving, there's people changing jobs, there's family dynamics. There's so many uproots right now that are going on for people. It's
Like
very,
planetary confetti.
yeah, it's very,
Ha!
and there's no pinata, so you don't get to pick up any
No,
candy
they're just throwing
afterwards.
the shit.
Remember, it's the very foundation of the breath and the forward step in progress. Every day, one of the things I used to say a long time ago, oh, that's beautiful. They just brought me back to this. One thing I used to say all the time, Jay will remember this too. Every day may not be great, but there's
Great
great
and
in
every
every day.
day.
And so you're being asked to really connect with yourself and really connect with what you're feeling and what's being revealed to you about what makes you come alive again. And that's the sun card, right? That's the joy, that's the happiness, that's the divine. And so to get to that, though, there's going to be turbulences. You're going to not necessarily understand or know which way to go. And I know that many of you look outside to yourselves of help or readings or so on and so forth for validation. But the best teacher that I've given you is discernment and yourself in that process of learning how to feel your way. I remember when God told me about 2 months ago, you're not going to be able to think your way through this still. You're going to have to feel your way through all of this. And that was before the sabbatical.
That was before.
That was right before the
Yeah.
sabbatical. And
Oh,
I
that was a
was,
fun day.
oh my
Excuse me,
God,
I gotta do what?
I got to do what?
What?
Me and feelings, bro. It did. See, here's the process that I went through. It wasn't that I didn't acknowledge my feelings. It's just that I had a lot of negative feelings and they didn't serve me, so I didn't use them.
Grr.
Right? I was an angry person. I was angry at the world. I was angry at myself. I was angry at everything. Right? So in that process, I had a lot of feelings that didn't serve me, and I started to learn at 25 how to really process my mind on what energetic blocks served me and emotions served me versus what didn't serve me. And so a lot of you are coming online with the deepest of intuitive intention of energetic feeling. You're going to feel spikes in your clarity. You're going to feel spikes in your intuitive awareness. You're going to feel these little like electricity jolts or sensations in your body. It's part of the electromagnetic pulses and the elevations that you're going through, frequency basis. But your spirituality and your gifts and the abilities of your awareness of yourself and everything else is changing in these rifts and in these times. And so, as you are being uprooted into your highest timeline, does it feel good?
No.
No. Does it look pretty? It does not. There's a lot of letting go. There's a lot of ridding yourselves of material possessions.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people around me that are getting rid of material things. There's a lot of people that are forced to get rid of a lot of things. I have a girlfriend right now who's getting rid of a truck. I have three others.
Dude.
There's four other mentees that I know are changing careers and moving and everything in materialization is being uprooted without hesitation, and that's Uranus.
Do you remember when I tell you, I go, why does this feel like we're just learning how to remove bondage?
Exactly, bondage of thyself and materialization and nothing else. That's it.
And she looked at me and she goes, that's it. That's it.
Hmm.
We're removing our emotional attachment to self.
To things outside of self.
We're removing the emotional attachment to the idea of self as well.
Into the belief of what it is, right? What home looks like, what stability looks like, what foundation looks like, what spirituality looks like. So 110%, you guys are dismantling the old integrities, the old immoralizations. Like I have another mentee that I worked with off and on for a while, and she just uprooted and left her life and is in an RV and traveling and doing her thing. And that's the forward progress in which she was put in, right? So there's a lot of dismantling, but it's also leading you to freedom into other things and other pathways. Like you don't know what God is trying to energetically and remove from your burden until you start to pursue and ensue that level of trust and faith and foundation energetically.
I agree.
In vibration. Where I was in Ohio for me was a vortex of sterilization. I had to get out of the vortex of sterilization and the vortex of bondage. Leave the city. I had to. Caroline Stella Wolfe had to get out of the city, bro, for real. And I never belonged in the city. It was that I was called back to my hometown and called back to my city, and look at this story, just this, exactly like the story of Yeshua. Yeshua was called back to his hometown and his city for how many years? 5. I was called back to my hometown and my city for 5 years before I moved and left again.
5 being the number
of change. 5 is our favorite number.
5 is our number.
5 is our favorite number, bro. That's so cool. So as the story goes on, in the times that you are becoming more emotionally strong, you're becoming more conquering of your mind and alchemization of energy and the feeling and vibration of what you thought your limitation was, what you thought these things were, versus what it truly is in sacred divinity, whether it be a career aspect, whether it be a relationship, whether it be a family dynamic, whether it be what you think about home, whatever that is, those things that are being removed from you are being removed because of the bondage of the materialization and the emotional foundation of what those things connect you to in realization for yourself. So many things that you guys are removing or getting rid of, or you're not pursuing or you're pursuing, are really what you're going through right now. And this is part of the harvest season. Mercury retrograde Uranus. Uranus is about to do another kickflip, yo. She's about to do another fucking, you know, kickflip here soon on the 7th and move into Taurus. She's about to shake some shit up.
Yeah, and surprises. Uranus is all and about unexpected.
Unexpected, but it's also about unexpected, but it's also about
that planet checked me real quick, dude. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, so this is what it's like. And then once I had that clarity, it's like, I'm not surprised. Look at what happened here.
And in that reflection, there's going to be a lot of realization and a lot of different things that are true materialization of things you want to work for, things you want to materialize. Maybe the how has changed, right? But not
Oh
the
yeah,
why.
the how has definitely changed.
The how has changed, but not the why, right? And so you guys are going to be dismantling those things that don't allow you to come into the cultivation of the how and feeling that intuitive vibration and the divine frequency moving through you at this time. There's no way that not one of you in this room right now are feeling the vibration of the etherical energy of the divine, because we've
It's
had so many
unmistakable.
spikes. We've had so many spikes in energy. We've had so many awarenesses. Your bodies are changing every day. The aches, the pains, the cellular things, the eating habits, the sinus infections, whatever, the respiratory, whatever is going on, that is all adherence to a new frequency of vibration
Yeah.
in cultivation. And literally they're showing me where things have just been peeled away. It's just like these thin little layers, like the outside skin of a peach and how thin it is. They're showing me like the outside thin layer of peaches and just being pulled. Did you just get like the shivers or the chills?
Yeah, I
Did
did. I
spirit
got
just
just
move
got the
through
cold
you?
chills all of a sudden.
Spirit just moved through you. Like, so long story short, it's like just these peeling of waves of these subtle layers. But now there's this spark that's going along with it. There's this fire that's going along with it. And I attribute that to Mars having a play in things and Mercury in retrograde. But Mercury is opposite of something right now that is sparking these things. And the passion
Mercury is supposed to be doing something this week.
and the passion
Is
and the
it Mercury and Mars?
Mars is opposite of Uranus, so it's causing an opposition there that I do know of for fact, but I don't know what date, to be honest with you specifically.
Mm,
But there's going to be some push pull energy, but at the same time, we're
yeah.
coming into awareness of the higher state of mind. That push pull energy is just there for you to solidify the things that you currently truly want to bring into for validation for yourself. And so as you go through these changes in your bodies, and they're saying the purification process, there's also this passion or this, I want to do this, I want to learn this, I want to try this, I want to do this, and da, 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 da. And so those passions are more aligned to the things that you feel truly connected with, no matter how unreal it feels. And you got to do it, you got to try it. So I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag. I'm tattooing again. There's my
Okay.
passion, there's my thing. Besides beading and making my Native American beadwork that I'm cultivating in the background, tattooing. Tattooing. It's my thing. I started it in 2017. I fell in love with it. I tattooed myself. I tattooed my oldest daughter. Didn't have a clue what I was doing. Just picked up the gun and the stencil, said, let's do this. What are the points of vibration that I need to understand in my awareness? Pull the skin. Don't go too deep. Don't hesitate. You'll mess up. Okay, cool. I can roll with that. And then that's how I roll. 110. I told you guys that. And now I'm back into tattooing again. And I'm back into
What
this
is it?
sacred density of
Third
it.
time's the charm. The fourth is mastery.
Right. So a part of my story growing up is I dated a lot of piercers and tattoo artists when I was growing up. So I learned a lot of things. I hung around a lot of tattoo studios when I was growing up. Now, did I have any business being there? No, I was 16 years old. I had no business being in a tattoo or piercing studio or dating anybody that was of that older vibration anyway. But that's for another dating story, because that's just how I rolled. It was the older generations that I rolled with, the old souls. They just understood me and I understood them. So I learned a lot of things in tattooing, and I learned a lot of things um, in that demographic. And so in 2017, I started to pick it up again, and I just started to do it. I didn't hesitate. I don't know whatever reason, but I've been breaking through a lot of different spaces of hesitation with it now in vibration, but it's coming more fluidly when I allow the resistance of the flow to just happen naturally. There's a beautiful fluidity that comes through in that energy for me. And whatever it is, it's about the tribal aspect for me, because I know back in the day in my native pathways, I tattooed people, but I tattooed people with the old way, the old You know what I'm saying?
the
That's how.
little
Yeah,
stick.
yeah, yeah. And one of the reasons that I know that is because when I have the tattoo gun in my hand, I naturally want to do that again. I naturally want to just
That's your blood, man.
right.
Like
So I'm like,
when
what
you
the
came
fuck
up
is
with
going
this
on?
idea that you wanted to tattoo, when you came up
He
with this
thought it was
idea that you
nuts.
wanted to tattoo, I was like, wait a minute, hold on a second. Where is
He
this
did.
really coming from?
He didn't know I had a background in it. He
I
thought it
was
was
like, well,
nuts.
hold on a second. Tattoos and beads, horses. Oh, this is totally ancestral. It's just so fitting for you, right? And then, of course, I'm the shit talker, right?
It's
That
the
doesn't
coronation,
realize that
man.
it's also happening to me as well
Mhm.
because I'm going to learn how to sew leather.
It's the Crow Nation.
And so,
The Crow Nation is known for their beadwork and their horse ministry. That's what they're known for. Tattooing, we don't know necessarily where that comes from, but I know in the native vibration, that's all I want to do because every tattoo that I want to do has some type of spiritual context to it, some type of flow, some type of essence of vibration. So the arrows and the moons that I have on my wrist that I tattooed on myself, dude just held my skin. I was like, here, hold this, pull this back for me, you know? And so when I tattooed myself, it was just all in. I love my tattoo, but I'm getting better at the finer details of things because to me it's about a flow of alignment and it's a chi thing and there's a flow of energy and you have to be in the right energy. Like I catch myself holding my breath and shit and I'm like breathe and then
yeah, I
I
was going to
catch
ask you
spirit.
that the other day. I was like, babe, are you breathing?
Yeah, sometimes I forget to breathe, but then spirits like they're like let me take your hand. And I'm like, okay. And then I release this like heaviness, right, on my
Uh-huh.
hand and on my wrist, and it just like beautifully flows out of me. And it's really cool being able to learn those vibrations all over again because now I'm doing it in a very detailed, there's intention, there's actualization, there's such a deeper connection to it in vibration. And so there's such a spiritualization with it. So I'm eager to see where it leads and where it takes me in the dynamic of the ministry and making that a part and bringing that the spiritual art context into it.
Mm-hmm.
um so that's my weird aha passionate flow right now of where I'm being led to just have fun and just be an enjoyment. So there's no, and one of my friends yesterday
It's
said,
funny. We're both working with needles now.
it's fucking hilarious. I was just gonna say the same thing, and not that I ever by any means had a needle problem, but
Neither have I.
it was very funny because my dear friend, I texted her. I said something to her the other day on the phone. I was like, "Man, I gotta order more needles," and she's like, "Only a tattoo artist can get away with saying I need to order more needles." And I was like, "Damn, that does sound fucking weird, doesn't it? That's like fucked up."
Well, that's
And
only fucking whatever
right, but
society.
it was just hilarious how like that calamity just came
Yeah.
out of that. Yeah, we're both working
Yeah.
with needles and we're both working with leather too because my beads are going on leather
Oh man,
cuffs.
I cannot wait for some of the pieces that are coming out, man. I
So
cannot wait.
yeah, to get those on leather cuffs would be a beautiful date. But long story short, these are the things that you're being led to do. They're pieces, parts, passions of you that creation comes out of. The spark of creation. We talked about a lot of that spark of creation today on live, and I'll get that video up as soon as I possibly can
I
from the
think it's
TikTok
because
over.
Scorpio season is also associated with that because
Yeah.
that's what it has come up in the messages that it's either you do what you love or you love what you do,
Yeah.
or it's time to reevaluate things because
Yeah.
the energy doesn't allow it.
Yeah, no, and I look my and I came to a realization with this, and yes, I love tattooing and I love drawing and I love some of the artwork that I've done in the past, and I love beading, but it's not the overall embodiment of where my true love and passion exists.
Mm-hmm.
And my true love and passion exists with helping people teaching people how to rise, leading people to their own highest timelines. That is my love. Removing bondages, removing
Yeah. You know,
strongholds,
it's funny that you
and
say that.
rising people
It's funny that you
to
say
be
that.
the best possible soul that they can evolutionize to be. I want to help people scream and shout that they are free from the fucking mountaintops, as am I, in a harmonious peace of understanding and resonance and vibration. And God told me, I think it was a week ago or a week and a half ago now, my fruits are not measured by materialization, but my fruits are measured by those around me that level up and succeed, that I have mentored and I have taught. And that was the most beautiful breath of a message that I was given in existence and in awareness, because there is no, I've always said, I will carry your flag with you until you can carry it on your own. And in that vibration of understanding, I've cultivated that space where people are now becoming their own leaders, their own mentors, their own healers, in building those spaces. And the grid that I have been able to have effect on by helping people become spiritually strong and remembering their sovereignty and identity, it's the biggest gift that I have been given, bro.
You know, it's funny because, like, you know,
And that's
when
my
you
love.
heal yourself, you know, when you heal others, you heal yourself, and when you heal yourself, you heal others.
Mm.
Okay, it's probably the most unselfish thing that you could do without even having to lift a finger for someone else, in a sense.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's where the logic becomes, it's time for it to become the emotion.
Facts.
All right, because everybody understands the principles of the universe to a certain extent. Everybody understands, you know, kind of like divine law, or to a certain extent, right? But now it's about the application, right?
Applying it.
And the only way that you can apply it is if you're involved. It's a
Right.
commitment like no other.
Mm.
And it causes you to revisit the fact that what are you truly committed to? And have you ever been committed to anything? Yeah, you've been in a relationship for fucking, I don't know how many years, but were you really there?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
emotionally, we've talked about that as women,
yeah,
detaching emotionally is the
yeah,
first
you
before,
know,
yeah,
so, you know,
emotionally
without
and
faking the
physically.
bacon, it's like, do you feel like this moves you, that it motivates you,
Hmm.
that it drives you, that you have ambition, that it it sparks you, it lights you, it
Mm.
fires you? Do you have any of these things?
Right.
Right?
Hmm.
And you know, that reevaluation space will show you exactly where you need to point. You need to point that love somewhere. You got to commit to that. You got to
Hmm.
open up to that. You got to surrender to that. You got to realize that you're being too rigid and you're trying to control things when you're not even in control.
Mm.
You know, the power, the absence of thought is presence.
Mm.
Okay. And in presence is where you find out a lot of these things
Mm.
and you learn stuff, right? Because
Right.
now you're allowing yourself to listen to the higher authority.
Most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Which is also you.
You.
You
In the
know,
beginning.
I love that, you know,
Hmm.
and I love ending with that because it's like, wait a minute, dude. Sooner or later, you come to realize, just as you've been talking to the collective messages, we're all one and the same where
Mm.
we come from because
Hmm.
we're all one,
Hmm.
right? We are the many manifestations of
Of
thought,
such. Yep.
of dreams,
Of
of
creation.
ideas, of creation,
And that's what God is, an
right?
etherealization, it's creation.
So, how are you going to make things move in your life
Mm.
from here on out? Are you willing to push past anything that is inside of you that is holding you back from doing so?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It's a profound question that usually comes up,
Mm.
you know, but we're in that season where it's like God's basically, or the higher divine, whichever way you want to say it, source is asking you
To
to
put your
become
money
more
where your mouth
loving,
is.
to become more loving and compassionate about you. Put yourself first, but
Yeah.
not in a way where you're being an ass, where you're actually wholeheartedly and focused intently on what you desire, what you
Mhm.
deserve, because
Mhm.
that is true movement, that is true flow, that is true abundance, that is fruit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That is the energy that created all of this
All of it.
that you exist in, and you can harness it. But you have to believe in yourself,
Mhm.
because that's the way you get to higher consciousness is through the self,
Mhm.
releasing anything that does not allow that frequency to become part of your being more than just this physical existence.
Mm.
It turns into a divine intelligence,
Mm.
which is also
You.
you. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'll leave it there, because I don't, this is an adventure for everybody. Everybody's experiences are unique,
Mhm.
but these are the profound baseline. It's kind of like my simple interpretation or our simple interpretation of things that you will experience along this journey. Do not be afraid.
Mhm.
Understand that there's rules to this, and learning the rules, bouncing back from negative to positive or whichever way you want to see it, wall to wall, to find your harmony and your balance. So I just wanted to say that because it's why we are healers. It's like, no, man. Well, what is that famous saying? It's like, are you going? It was like, what did it was one of the students that was actually a monk, and he said he wanted to learn,
Mhm.
right? And he goes, I will not teach you.
Mhm.
And he goes, but I want to learn what you learn.
Mhm.
He goes, I will not teach you.
Mhm.
Love will teach you.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that's where it is. It's that trust and understanding that, you're basically opening up to these things, becoming more directive with your passion,
Mhm.
lighting those things up, creating things, doing something new, and possibly even something so horrendous that that it's like, how in the fuck could I even be compelled to
Well,
do this in the first
that's
place?
the whole point. Right now, the divine is asking us to not throw whatever at the wall and see what sticks, but the divine is asking us to do things that make us come out of our comfort zone because we may not understand the frequency or the vibration of that physical thing, right? So what the divine showing me is we may be doing this physical thing that we're led to do, but it's leading us to a different type of frequency
Yeah.
of a higher state of consciousness, a higher state of mind that we need to
Entrainment.
be in too. So it may not be that very thing that it's important, but maybe it's the frequency in which
The
that things
flow and the rhythm.
brings to your reality in which you need
I,
to move into the higher floor of consciousness. So it's not that tattooing is going to be my main thing by
no,
any
it's
means, but it's bringing a higher level of awareness, consciousness, and attunement in frequency and vibration to the next step of
yeah.
what energy I'm going to move into. So always know that you may not understand why you're doing what you're doing, but it's always going to lead you to the steps of what you're totally pursuing. And that's the point right now, is that it's not it's do these things that make you feel proud, that make you feel that you are in alignment for yourself. What is your truth that is real? And that's where I'm going to end it tonight.
Yeah. Well, there's so much to talk about, even in all these evolutionary steps that we take. You know what I'm saying? So we got
Yeah,
to come back and do this more.
every Sunday night we'll see
Because
you
there's
here.
just so much to talk about, dude. Because the
Mm-hmm.
level of depth is nothing less than profound here in this camp,
Yes,
and we can see things from so many ways. And I think it's beautiful that that we have the ability to see those things in so many ways, so we can share these experiences and these realizations with all the
thank you,
beautiful
KB.
people out there to help you guys understand
Yeah,
what's going on and understand yourselves better.
most definitely. Thank you, KB, for all of your love. Thank you guys for being here this evening and all of your comments. If you guys need anything, you can reach out to us at fourcornershealing37.com or womboftheancientsun.org. I know in the top there, in the description box below, all of those pages are there as well. Take care of yourselves and each other, guys, and hopefully I will see you guys earlier this week, and you'll see Jose as well. So Till we meet again, thank you for being here tonight, guys. Bye bye.